So the next thing after that is the issues list, which this, I would say, compromises about 70% of the entire hour and a half of the meeting, right? Because this is where things get real. The discussion gets really,
I'm glad you said
deep.
that. So most of the meeting is the issues list. Every other phase of this meeting should take about 5 minutes. And so you have to be careful when you're doing rock reviews, if you're off track or on track, that you don't just start talking about an issue. You
don't. You just say either it's on track or off track.
Because you want to get to the issues list so you have time to solve issues.
So like the natural transition would be, let's just say, for example, you're going through your rocks and somebody says, I'm off track on my rock. So then that rock gets moved to an issue. And in the case of making chips, we do everything on a Trello board. So like it just literally moves from you move that rock from rocks to issues. Okay. So that way, when you come to discuss your issues, you figure out why it's off track. And then a lot of times that off track rock might turn into like a to-do for that person because maybe that person doesn't know how to get the rock back on track.
Right.
And so that's why you're discussing it amongst your team. And then you have a to-do for the week that's going to lead you back to getting your rock on track.
But if you want to kill the 10 rating in a meeting, discuss all your issues before you get to the issues list. That's the worst thing you can do.
It is. Yeah.
I could not agree
and
with
we
you
do
more.
that sometimes.
We do.
Yes, we do.
Because we get passionate and emotional about
and
like
someone
things.
needs
Most
to lead
people
this
do, though.
meeting, and you feel kind of like a jerk sometimes when you're like, hey, stop. Like, we'll talk about that later. Because you don't want to cut people off, but you need someone to be like, look, we have an issues list for a reason. We'll put it on there.
It's either it's done or it's not done.
Right.
I agree.
I don't want to hear your excuses.
So let's talk about the issues, because if the issues list is, since it's about 70% of the entire meeting time, let's share with the Metalworking Nation how they're ranked and then how they're IDS'd or identified, discussed, and solved. So what we're supposed to do as a leadership team during the week, when something comes up in your head and you're like, oh, darn, we need to talk about this. This is definitely a leadership discussion that needs to be solved at the next L10. We open up the Trello, which is the way that
That's just a project management software we use. You can do a piece of paper, chalkboard.
Well, I hear the EOS software is really nice to work with, and I'm looking at
Oh, they actually have a software for it?
They do.
They don't, not themselves. They have
a third party.
They have third parties that have developed software, and I've tried like one or two of them.
I think Trello does.
I think
inexpensive.
Trello is the best way to go, to be honest.
Well, right.
And it's free.
And
it's free.
Yeah,
it's
love free.
Yeah. So anyway, what we do is, let's say you go to you get to the new issues list, and then you go through them and you just say, okay, Jason, what is this?
Well, hey, what
Jim,
makes it on the list?
What makes it on the list?
Yeah.
What kind of things go on the list?
That's a good one. So
Jason put his gum under the desk the other day, and it was driving me crazy.
That might be an issue.
Right. Well, no, it's not. Well, it is an issue, but
I'm kidding.
It shouldn't be an issue that's on the issues list.
The good kind of differentiator is the point of this meeting is to work more on the business than in the business.
Right.
So it's like, hey, we were late by a day on getting a quote out. Is that like a real systematic problem that you need to talk? Now, if you're consistently late, it might be an issue. But
right.
It's just like one thing that you should solve by talking to the person in the cubicle next to you. Just do that. But if it's more focusing on making your business better, but working on the business, not just getting a tactical day-to-day thing done, then it probably warrants being on the issues list.
Right.
And so like you asked about like how you get issues going, and one of the ways that we found is the best way to do it, and I've kind of like walked us through in Making Chips doing this, but you have one person, usually the person that puts the issue on the table, tease up the issue, and they just have to say what the issue is in one sentence, and that kind of gets it going.
So anyway, just rate the list. We drag and drop it into the list in 3 categories: high, medium, low, because sometimes you can't get through all your issues list that week. So we have to rate them on their importance. So then we start the countdown: IDS, identify, discuss, solve. And this is where it can really get deep, because it may take 15 minutes, 20 minutes to solve an issue.
So identifying the issue isn't just naming the issue.
No,
identifying is getting to the root cause of
yes.
the issue.